A year before London opened its famous hotel by the same name, Kansas City's Savoy Hotel and Grill was indeed the first. The 7-story structure sits on the corner of 9th and Central Streets with an Italian decorum. The bottom floor, built in 1888 by the Scottish brothers John and Charley Arbuckle, who also owned the Arbuckle Coffee Company, the Savoy is the oldest operating hotel west of the Mississippi. Despite the Arbuckles still holding onto the reputation for the finest cowboy coffee in the West, including notorious cow towns of Doge City and Tombstone, they likewise cater to weary travelers and apartments for its local people. No doubt the famous Thomas Swope had stayed there before his unfortunate death at his sister-in-law's mansion.
Do not drink the water from Dr. Hyde. I wholeheartedly regret it.
The word Savoy originated from France and emerged as the feudal territory of the House of Savoy during the 11th to 14th centuries. Later, it would come to refer to a member of the Italian royal house that ruled beginning in 1861 until 1946. It additionally means a cabbage of hardy variety with densely wrinkled leaves, but certainly lacks its lusty Italian prominence. In 1903, a west wing was added and featured a dining area, thereby upscaling its modest architecture into a pretty classy shindig. After the construction of the Union Station by 1914, it was the primary hotel travelers would feast their eyes upon for a good night's sleep with a full belly. It garnished a luxurious reputation of the West before people headed further out to Denver, Santa Fe, San Francisco, or Seattle. For 30 years, it would remain on a pedestal until the Great Depression knocked it down. After World War II, it befell to transforming into a flophouse. In 1960, a new owner, Don Lee, bought the restaurant and then the hotel 5 years later. The hotel became a low-income apartment residence. The Grill, however, would become renowned for its Midwestern steak and imported seafood. Booth number 4 upholds a presidential reputation that had been an honorary anchor to Warren Harding, Harry S. Truman, Gerald Ford, and Ronald Reagan. Decades following, Lee was able to afford resurrecting the lavish reputation of the Savoy to its entirety. By the early 1990s, he enshrined the original artwork, which includes stained glass windows, murals by pioneer landscape artist Edward Hulslag, a carved oak bar, and high-beamed ceilings. This splendor would last for 20 years. Just a week before Halloween in 2014, a fire not only destroyed the grill section, but also caused smoke damage throughout the hotel. The fire was blamed on a cook's negligence. By that point, owner Don Lee would sell the Savoy by the end of that year, and thus the hotel officially closed its doors. The Savoy has been on the National Register of Historic Places since 1974, and its murals have been included in the Smithsonian Institute's Bicentennial Inventory of American Paintings. Today, it is owned by 21C Museum Hotels based out of Louisville, Kentucky, presenting a large ballroom that could hold up to 150 people, 4 private galleries on the second floor with room for 10 to 75 people each, and a conference room that seats 12. The Savoy has been transformed into a living museum. With up-to-date amenities such as LED lights and Wi-Fi, rooms start at $255 a night. The most expensive, called the 21st C Suite, goes for $2,650 a night, and hosting a rooftop terrace with a pristine view of downtown. What would the Arbuckle brothers think of their hotel in the 21st century?
Long may your loan leak. It's bloody fantastic.
When Cowhands expected their coffee to be brown gargle, hot, black, strong and thick enough to float a 6-shooter in, according to writer C.B. Miller, the Savoy is expected to be just as strong and just as famous as Doge City and Tombstone.
Historic buildings are important because they represent a nexus of people and place. It's geography and culture coming together, and the artifacts that we leave behind are our buildings. So preserving the Savoy is critical because it represents a piece of Kansas City history that's vanished.
Anybody from Kansas City remembers that grill as kind of the place to be with this amazing history. Kind of this essence of place that Truman hung out in, gangsters hung out in, all kinds of very historic conversations and dinners were hosted inside. And when people come in to this new space, I think they're going to be really surprised, if not ecstatic, to see that that's pretty much all there. And I think a whole new generation of people that are going to come and kind of get to see what it was like before 21C had it.
When the Savoy opened, it was cutting edge at that time, and we've really incorporated so much of the history into who and what we are today, but our intent is not just to recreate what was already there. It's to lift from that and do that same thing today while honoring the past.
The theme of the overall menu is a throwback to mid-century dining. I watch Mad Men constantly now on TV. I have it playing at home while I'm writing menus, just to get myself psyched up and in that mood and that style.
The grill room is the most iconic space in this building, and it will be preserved very much as it was before the project started, with all of the elements that people remember and people love.